its origins hatched in Slavic folklore. The mythical Firebirds' journey westward has only enhanced its avant lore. Finding sanctuary amid sands both timeless and perpetual, the allure of the bird's plumage radiant, eyes hypnotic, talons just, and song enchanting prove a presence magical for those who respect its powers, and a harbinger dark for those who seek to tame its flight. In tales of yore, times bygone, the firebird protects its nest, the hue of its brilliant feathers, a guiding glow of belief, of renewal, of light, of home. A narrative rooted in myth, such powers, such imaginations are today realized with a tale of light and freeze. For the firebird and those who embrace its journey, it is a tale of seasons reborn, a fable actualized by the forge of steel blade and wooden implement, a legend which grows by roar and score. It is a story of fire and ice.
Greetings, friends and Firebirds fans, and welcome to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Coming to you from Palm Desert, California, a mere Yanni Newman right circle wrist rocket away from the Birds home ice of Acrisure Arena. I'm your host, Judd Spicer. 4 seasons of Coachella Valley Firebirds hockey, 4 seasons of fire and ice. Not alone on this episode, got a good one for you, an upcoming guest. Goalie Jack LaFontaine, they call him the Laffer in the business. We'll see if Jack makes us laugh today. If he doesn't, I trust he'll make us think. Smart guy, intellectual guy, seen pieces of LaFontaine over the course of the last 3 seasons, and we like what we've seen. Jack undoubtedly availed himself quite well during his opportunities in the Firebirds net. I trust he'll do the same on this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast. Before we get to that visit, brief digression on those that make this show go. The Desert Sun newspaper. So proud to align myself this season, new partner in crime with a newspaper, an outlet I've personally enjoyed contributing to for about a dozen years or so, and one that has informed our valley for a near century. 1927, that was the first issue of the Desert Sun. You can check out all the goings-on, all the coverage of the Coachella Valley, news, sports, weather, what have you, at desertsun.com, or just go out and buy a physical newspaper. Andrew John, reporter for the Desert Sun, going to be joining me on the Desert Shootout segment as an epilogue of this episode. Be certain to stay tuned for that visit with Andrew. Kind of wondering, you heard me pause there. I just kind of thought in my head, I wonder if the Desert Sun's going to do something special for that centennial anniversary next year. I don't know. The Desert Shootout goes pretty fast. Set him up, knock him down style. Not sure I'll have opportunity to ask Andrew about like any parties of which I should be aware for that centennial. I can ask him. I can ask him Wednesday night for the next Firebirds game. Fear not. We'll get to the schedule shortly. Presenting sponsor of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, Desert Willow Golf Resort, also right here in sunny Palm Desert, California. That is home to the Mountain View and Firecliff courses, respectively. Get those tee times online at desertwillow.com. And when you're poking around on the internet, be sure to check out the awesome and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy. Got a lot of snowbirds in town right now. Got some rusty snowbirds. I just know that there are folks coming in from Canada, Minnesota, Washington State, Oregon, Wisconsin, points beyond. It's cold there. You haven't swung the wrenches for a while. You want to brush up. You want some swing, tutelage, instruction. Go check out Paul Busey and Co. at the awesome Palm Desert Golf Academy right there at Desert Willow Golf Resort. And I guess, as an old radio adage, broadcast adage, podcast adage, you can feel free to tell them that Uncle Juddy sent you over to DW. By the way, just 1.5 miles away from the Birds home ice of Acrisure Arena. I love the good segue. Make it a great putt-to-puck day. Go tee it up or get a lesson over at DW. Skate it right down Cook. Hang it right on Varner. Bang. There you are for a Birds game in the evening over at Acrisure Arena. All right, friends, let us segue now to this episode's Firebirds Freeze Frame segment. And of course, we've got a great new sponsor this season for the Firebirds Freeze Frame segment. You know, dudes, ice action isn't limited to Acrisure alone. Hockey fans seeking some great pregame drinks, postgame toasts. You only need to look up to the high desert where our Firebirds friends at both the 29 Palms Beer Company and the Ground Squirrel serving up some awesome eats, incredible beers in downtown 29 Palms. The Ground Squirrel, it's fun, it's funky, it's delicious, by the way. The GRNDSQRL, that's how it's spelled. They sport an awesome gastropub-style scratch-made menu. I might suggest those pepperberry dry rub wings to get your meal started, by the way. They match that with a rotating list of craft beers. And for those seeking a potent power play up to 29, you skate it right on down the street to the 29 Palms Beer Company. They're brewing up their own phenomenal beers right there, right on site. And oh, by the way, televising every Coachella Valley Firebirds game, whether it be home or away. You're a desert local, you're seeking a fun new scene, or perhaps you're a guest of the Coachella Valley here in this peak season. You're up there exploring Pioneer Town. You want to go hike or trek, explore, get into Joshua Tree a little bit. Hey, you're celebrating a Birds win, drowning your sorrows after a tough loss. You lace up the hospitality in 29 Palms for the Ground Squirrel and the 29 Palms Beer Company, proving your high desert hockey homes. All right, dudes. Things have been going well for the boys of late. We got a 7-game point streak that was a 6-game win streak, but nonetheless extended it to 7 with the points. 39 games down, 33 to go. 22, 12, and 5 is the record for CV. That's 49 total points thus far into the season. Good for 4th in the ever-competitive Pacific Division. Just one team, by the way, in the 10-team pack, biggest division in the American League. Just one team, ironically perhaps, defending Calder Cup champion, Abbotsford, the only team in the division that's under 500. The schedule, Birds wrapping up a current 5-game homestand. They'll be doing so this Wednesday night versus a very good Colorado Eagles team. Seems like every team is kind of good, save for Abbotsford. This Wednesday, 6:30 p.m., puck drop, Colorado currently in second place. Birds have a chance to rise yet again in the pack standings with a victory on Wednesday night, slide right on up in the pack into third place. Conclude the homestand this Friday, January 30th. That's a 7 p.m. start against the San Diego Gulls. And then a 4-game road trip ensues. That's going to get underway pretty fast, by the way. This Sunday with a battle. I think we got 6 left versus a very good Reign team. This Sunday, 3 p.m. start at Ontario. I trust there'll be some kind of caravan. There typically is from Birds fans. Just driving right on down the 10, about an hour, maybe an hour and change, probably less on a Sunday afternoon to go check out the Birds as visitors at the Ontario Reign this Sunday. Birds are gone for a while, by the way, not returning from this road trip, at least not playing a game at Acrisure Arena for a few weeks. Friday, February 13th is the Acrisure Arena return for CV. That is a home game versus Tucson. Kraken night, by the way, with a 7 p.m. start. Per our players, many of whom having fine seasons. Jagger Firkus, your leading scorer to date thus far in the season, 38 total points. Jagger pairing 14 goals with a team-high 24 assists. Those 38 points, by the way, tied for 10th in the entire American League. I have an asterisk next to Jagger's name. It's been a spell since we've had an episode of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort, because Jagger was named to his first AHL All-Star game. That game taking place February 11th. The events go February 10th and 11th, taking place this year in the Midwest, Rockford, Illinois. Right behind Jagger on the Firebirds' leading scorers list, I'm going to call it a snub. He kind of got snubbed. Logan Morrison having himself an exemplary season, 37 points thus far into the year, a team-high 20 goals paired with 17 assists. Those 20 goals are tied for 4th in the entire AHL. Still, didn't get an all-star nod with that. Nonetheless, we move on because the Birds did have 2, not every team does, but we got 2 all-star selections this year. Rookie Tyson Jugnaut, 29 points on the year, 6 goals, matched with 23 assists. Those 29 points for all-star Tyson, 3rd among defensemen, not just rookies, among all defensemen in the entire AHL. Fourth on the Birds scoring list, Oscar Molgard, 21 points on the year, 7 goals and 14 assists, as we were able to discuss on the most recent episode of Fire and Ice with Troy Bodie. Exciting times for Oscar. The Olympics coming up next month. He will represent his country playing for Team Denmark. Kind of gave a little nod, kind of gave a carrot already about goaltending for the Firebirds. Nikke Kokko, the reason that Jack LaFontaine got called up, Nikke Kokko, lower body injury week to week. That was suffered on January 10th. Prior to the injury, Nikke, with a record of 11-6-2, goals against of 3.22 and a save percentage of .896, if I can read my chicken scratch correctly. The Swede, Victor Ostman, spelling more often now, 9-6-3 thus far in the year. Goals against sub-3, it's 2.95 with a save percentage of .899. I'm not that good at math, but we had, one more save thus far in the year. He'd be over 9 in that metric. And then Jack LaFontaine, 2-0 on the year. Awesome. GAA, not just sub-3, but sub-2, friends. 1.72, an awesome save percentage of .935. And we will look forward to visiting with Jack momentarily. In the interim, let me again recognize the sponsor of this Firebirds Freeze Fame segment, 29 Palms Beer Company, and the Ground Squirrel, right up there in the high desert. 29 Palms. You can check out every Birds game, home or away, at the 29 Palms Beer Company. Those, my friends, are your high desert hockey homes. All right, all that offered, all that prefaced, Firebirds friends. Let's get to a Jack Attack and visit with Firebirds goalie Jack LaFontaine. All right, Firebirds friends, my guest on this episode of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. He is a 28-year-old native, try not to butcher this, Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. I first got wind of him and his talents in my native Twin Cities from afar. I was out here, but paid attention to the Golden Gophers when he was earning the Mike Richter Award. It's the top goalie in college hockey. Was a Hobey Baker Award finalist. In the years since, among the laundry list of accomplishments and stops along the way, we'll talk about that. 66 regular season play and playoff wins in the ECHL for the Kansas City Mavericks. He is the Mavericks' all-time winningest goalie. 10-5-5 in his AHL history, including an exemplary 5-0-1 across parts of the last 3 seasons for the Firebirds, also mixing in a couple NHL games for the Carolina Hurricanes. All that prefaced, we welcome goalie Jack LaFontaine to the program. Hello, Jack.
Hey, Judd. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having time to join as we wrap up the Birds' 5-game homestand. And during the Birds' 7-game point streak, you have played a very big part. But you know what, man? Across these 3 seasons, your record for the Firebirds speaks for itself. We've enjoyed watching you play. The results are there. Why do you think you've had such success when you've been in net for the Birds?
Well, I think for one, I think the team, every year I've been here, for each of the 3 seasons, the team in front of me has been very good. And even going back to that first year I was here, just really good leadership and a great dressing room. And obviously, fast forward 3 years, a lot of things have changed. The team's much younger, different coach, but I think the standard and the expectation still resonates within the organization. And I think that just goes to show you, and obviously I wasn't here for it, but how influential that first year was for this organization and for this community, because I think people expect us to be in contention each year. And I think heavy is the head that wears the crown, so to speak. So it's a great place to be, a great place to play, and I'm just happy to play a small part in it.
Are those expectations, as you see them, a good thing or as you said, a weighty thing, Jack?
No, I think it's a privilege, right? The last thing you want to do is you want to go to a place that doesn't have any expectations, and it's a country club vibe. And Here, the expectation is to always win, to always develop, and to get to the next level. And I think Dan Bilesma and staff did a phenomenal job in those first couple years. And now Derek Laxdale and company have carried that torch and put their own mark on the program. And I think, we're seeing this year just even with the young players, they've quickly acclimated to the AHL level. And I think you're going to see a very, very fun second half of the season.
I love on this program when players pull back the curtain a little bit. You use the phrase, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, country club vibe. It leads me to believe that number one, we don't have that. But secondly, I'm curious to hear you expand on what a country club vibe is in a locker room.
Well, I've been fortunate. I've played in very good spots in my career. Each spot I've been at, the groups have been very, very well run, and that starts in the dressing room, right, with the strong veteran leadership. Um, and it's simply care factor, right? Like how much do you care about winning? Because at the end of the day, winning is the ultimate goal in our sport, right? Obviously, everyone wants to get to the next level, but I think um, winning is the pinnacle of this level, and that's one way to for individuals to get themselves to that next level. So when I look around our dressing room today, like guys like Mitchell Stevens, Ian McKinnon, John Hayden, Gustav Olofsson, like those are guys with high care factor, high compete level, and stuff like that rubs off on the younger guys. It rubs off on me, and I'm 28 years old, but those are guys that I see in the gym, I see on the ice, and they bring it every single day. And there's a reason they're still here today. And they've just done so much for this organization as a whole, and I tip my cap to them.
So we can maybe say that inverse to a country club vibe, we have like a muni vibe. We got a municipal blue collar vibe in our locker room, which is a good thing.
Blue collar, yeah, very blue collar. Bring your lunch pail to work every day. Yeah.
Jack, we kind of started with the present. Let us now delve back into the LaFontaine past a little bit. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Sometimes uh, sequentially, it can be difficult to exactly pinpoint what happened when. So I referenced the 2021 season with the Gophers, which was an
Yes.
excellent one for you. You had one more year at the U after that. Carolina was the team that drafted you back in 2016. Jack was the 75th overall pick in that draft, by the way. And then did it immediately rather segue to that pair of games with Carolina, or was there an AHL stop mixed in between?
So that year, shit, that's like, what is that,
That
5 years ago, 4 years ago?
that was a very active 2022 for you.
I think I played in all three leagues that year, but how it started was I was at Minnesota we just got back off of the holiday break. Uh, Kind of turned into signing with Carolina because they had some injury trouble, and I was fortunate enough to get in a couple games and dress for Carolina for a couple games, and then I was off to Chicago, where that was a very, very good AHL team. We ended up winning it all. We won the Calder that year, and also had a quick stint in Norfolk that year as well. So a lot of stops along the way. But it was a great first year of pro, and obviously when you go all the way in the American League and win it all, that makes all the hardship and all the turmoil kind of disappear. So it was just a great group.
You donned four different sweaters in
Yeah,
that same year, probably within what, like a 3 or 4 month span?
yeah, I think so. I feel like we played really deep into the year too. It was like I feel like it was like 4th of July we got home. Like that was a long, long year. So yeah, definitely. In college, I think you're done in April. So it's definitely a big shock to the system when you're still playing in July, but it was an absolute blast.
That pair of games that you played in 22 for the Hurricanes, Were you ready for those? Was it too soon? Come straight from playing college hockey to jumping basically into right into an NHL net?
No, I don't think uh, it's a dream come true, right? Like you dream about that. Again, that's the pinnacle of hockey. Like you want to play at the highest level. You want to challenge yourself against the best players, and for me, I was just so excited, so jived up to play in those games. And, obviously the result wasn't there, but for me, it was just another feather in my cap that, hey, I was on the ice with some of the best players in the world and I held my own. And that's something I'll remember for the rest of my life. And something that I think it was cool for a lot of people that have been on the journey with me to kind of reap the rewards of everything they've sacrificed for me, like my parents and my brother and other family members.
Let's stick with that word journey as I did have it written down. There's been a number of stops across the LaFontaine career. I think somewheres in the neighborhood of 11 of them, if my notes are correct. We're mixing in some AHL, some ECHL. We mentioned the games with the Hurricanes, something like even 8 across the last 6 years, which seems like a lot for a guy of your caliber and a player of your talents, the player that we've so enjoyed watching at Acrisure Arena and seeing having so much success with our KC affiliate. How would you succinctly, Jack, thus far sum up your pro hockey journey?
A blessing. Just the very fact that I get to play professional hockey is something that I'm eternally grateful for. Growing up, it was always like in my household, my parents, they wanted me to just get an education out of hockey. They just wanted me to use hockey as a vehicle to get a good education. My dad, he was my first goalie coach, and he pushed me to, always compete, always work hard. Um, and we were always just working together, and that's something for me growing up as a kid. I'll always remember. And fast forward, like, man, he was my goalie coach when I was like 9 to 12, and here I am at 28 still reminiscing about those days when he's making me do skating drills and you know just absolutely bagging me. But every game for me in my pro career is an absolute blessing. And um, I feel like the older I get, the more I try to share it with the people in my life, because those people have sacrificed so much for me. I think that's the one thing it's tough to really appreciate when you're 19 or 20 years old, because you're so hungry, you don't see the bigger picture. And now here I am at 28, and I'm starting to slowly realize the commitment that my parents had to make on so many levels, especially in Canada, how competitive it is, and what they had to do to just give me an opportunity to play. So um, it's been a great ride. It's been a great journey so far.
Do want to touch upon one member rather of your family, not your immediate family, but an uncle of yours. Before I do ask that, however, it fascinates me, and we talked about this in the press room following the shutout that you authored against defending champion Abbotsford. That was back on January 18th. A guy in your spot, man. Um, I think safe to say, I'm not going to name names, throw anybody under the bus. Don't do that in this show. Some other guys in your spot of your approximate age that come across as a little more cynical, um, kind of feel like, well, I should be getting chances that I haven't received. Not a lot of guys like that, but a few. But you don't come across as cynical in any way. I mean, the gratitude from what you said the other night and what you're saying now, that's what shines through, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, again, like um, I think that's just a perspective of life. Now you got me talking less about hockey, more about life. But I think if whether it's hockey, whether it's work, and you're, you know, complaining about, well, I shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be there. I mean, at the end of the day, you're the one that looks in the mirror and you're the one that's in control of their your own destiny. And for me, I'm again like I've been with this organization for 3 years now, and there's a reason I want to come back. It's because from top to bottom, this organization has been nothing but amazing to me. Um, Troy Bodie has been incredible. He's a man that I genuinely respect. He's someone that, whether it's hockey, whether it's issues with like a hotel room or like I need to rent a car while I'm called up, Troy Bodie's my first call and he has my back. And he's a guy that, he grinded in his NHL career. He's a guy that made it, and someone that I really respect. And it just any opportunity I get up here, I'm very grateful. It's never a bad day in Coachella, because truthfully, like I, I look at this AHL program and I don't know, I don't know how I don't know the difference between this and an NHL program. Like we are treated so well here, and the support we get from the community and the fans is just so overwhelming that it still shocks me today. It's so crazy to me to just see the support that the community has, and um, and to kind of circle back to your earlier question, like anytime I get to be called up and be a part of it, I'm so grateful for it.
Want to get back to that member of your family I referenced. Otherwise, I'll probably forget to ask it. Brian Bradley, he's your
Yeah.
uncle, correct?
This
Fa-
second uncle, my grandpa's yes, my grandpa's oh geez, I'm gonna butcher it. I'm gonna get a call from my grandpa after this if he listens to this. But yes, Mr. Brian Bradley, yes, he's in the LaFontaine family tree.
Okay, fine player, of course, of the mid 80s through the late 90s. Certainly with Tampa, over 500 career points for Brian Bradley. Always enjoyed watching him play. Is that somebody that has helped through this pro hockey journey? And if so, how has he helped you?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Like it's, he's a Kitchener native right now. His son Trey Bradley played in the GTHL with the Toronto Nationals. So our families always cross paths here and there, just catching up. Um, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like you played in the IHL, like that's so crazy. And it's so funny, like in our family, because I think it's Vinny Lecavier that ended up breaking his franchise record. And I remember my grandpa being like pretty upset about that. 'Cause my grandfather's like a very opinionated and proud person, and he was very upset. He's like, "No, I wanted Brian to have that one for." I'm like, "Well, Grandpa, it's Vinny Lecavier. Like that's pretty cool." But no, we always crossed paths. We always had words of encouragement. So yeah, that's just I guess that's our family's claim to fame, so to speak.
All right. Well, I'm sure you're on there too. I'm sure they're still claiming you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my grandpa won't let anyone hear otherwise.
Friends, you're tuning in to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. My guest is Firebirds goalie Jack LaFontaine. Jack, we kind of referenced these last 3 years, a lot of time with Kansas City, some time here in the Coachella Valley. Aside from the level of play on the ice, what's the biggest difference between the ECHL life and the AHL life?
Um, it, I would say the travel for one. The travel is very different. In the ECHL, most of the time, it's always on the bus. Granted, there are a couple flights in there, whereas, and I should also say in the ECHL, there's the sleeper bus, and here it's a coach bus, and I don't I forget, like San Diego was what, 2.5 hours away. That may be the longest bus trip these guys take, um, for the day of type of game.
Sure.
But I mean, like meals are all provided. Like it's like I said earlier, like it's an AHL team run like an NHL program. So, um, the Kansas City Mavericks do a phenomenal job of facilitating all of our needs down there. It's run by the coach and GM Tad O'Had, who's been there, I want to say, for 5 years, and he's done a tremendous job of really putting Kansas City on the map in the ECHL as one of the places to play. My first year there, he was. Tad was breaking records for road wins, and then obviously making the finals was such a cool stop along the journey. And he's still chugging along, making sure that um, you know every player that Coach Ellis sends to Kansas City is developing and getting ready for the next level. So while there are some differences, whether it's travel, um, you know in the ECHL, we're not going to San Jose or San Diego. We're going to some other places. We're going to Lake Wichita. We're going to Wheeling maybe. It's not that much of a difference for how we're treated. And again, I just think that goes back to just everyone in this organization from top to bottom, whether you're in the NHL, AHL, or ECHL. You're treated with respect. You're treated like a pro, um, and that's something I think that's very rare to find in pro hockey, and something that I'm very grateful for being in an organization like this.
Talked a little bit more about the ECHL than annually typical, I think I would say, on this program. Part of that, of course, was because at the end of 2025, trying to get the new CBA signed and sealed wasn't able to happen right away. I think there were 40 or 41 games that were ultimately postponed over a brief strike. That has since been signed, just like the AHL's new CBA was signed. There was never really any threat of that not happening. But during those days leading up to that strike, what was going through your mind? What were you talking about with teammates? And I guess as a three-part question, Jack, did you ultimately feel like the players got a square deal?
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a delicate situation, just because for guys like myself who are on those AHL contracts, um, that new CBA didn't have a lot of issues that concerned us. Uh, Saying that, I think the vibe in our dressing room was all the same, as far as, like, listen, like, we love Kansas City. Like, if you were to Judd, if you were to come to Kansas City and see the apartments that we stayed in, you would think we're like the kings of Kansas City. Like
Travis
the
Kelsey?
oh yeah, like Travis Kelce's probably jealous of us. Like the ownership in Kansas City, and again goes back to Tad. Like, they have done a tremendous job. They are the gold standard, in my opinion, of the ECHL, and everyone in that dressing room will tell you the same. I think there were what ended up happening. I think there were other teams around the league that there was just so much parity in the treatment of other teams, where guys on our team were like, well, like, we don't really need to strike, like, we love it here. But I think it came down to other teams just raising their standards, similar to Kansas City. And again, I could be talking out the wazoo right now, because I was really on the background of this, because when this all happened, I was just finding ways to stay ready, just in case I got called up. And um, I think it was obviously a relief when everything came to an end, and we're like, okay, cool, we get to get back to the games, we get back to feeling like hockey players. And I think both parties, from my understanding, did a great job. I think the PHPA did a good job. I think the ECHL did a good job. And I hopefully there's no bad blood, and there's water under the bridge. And um, I just want players in the ECHL to hopefully have the same experience that myself and my teammates have in Kansas City, because it's a great place to play. And I think it's slowly becoming, well, I shouldn't say slowly, I think already has become one of the the star destinations in the ECHL.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Jack. And I think that the other media members have picked up on this from chatting with you over the last 3 years, the opportunities we've had to visit with you in the post-game pressers, and I trust listeners thus far into our chat. You're a smart guy. You're a
I
heady.
don't know about that.
You have a very good vocabulary. Uh, you talk things out. You have a unique way of answering some of these questions that you could have answered them in a pretty easy way, and we just could have moved on. But it it kind of reminds me of some of the other goalies that have had on this program or interviewed for other outlets on the Firebirds. Joey Decord, Chris Drieger, smart guys. Your former goalie coach interviewed him many times. Zuli, Colin Zulianello, now with the Kraken. He used to be a teacher 5 years ago. The guy was teaching school. Now he's the Kraken's goalie coach. Very smart guy. Do you look at yourself that way? Are you a heady guy?
I, I don't know. I think if anyone says they're smart, I think that's a red flag in itself. I don't see I just see myself as just the guy that's constantly learning, kind of learning through the hard ways, learning through life's mistakes. And, my, for me, I get most of my wisdom through my dad. My dad's like my biggest role model. I got a stack of books over there that he's like, you got to read this, you got to read that. So, in my family growing up, it was always just, getting as most knowledge as you can, just bettering yourself. And, um, yeah, I would I consider myself smart? I don't know. That's a stretch, but I just like to give thoughtful answers to you. I don't want to be the prototypical hockey player.
Well, we've had some of both over 4 years of this
Yeah,
program. Not slighting anyone. We'll put it this way: you got your short answer guy and your long answer guy. You got to be prepared for both.
yeah.
You, you referenced to the stack of books. What are a couple of the highlights in that stack, Jack?
Well, I'm looking over there right now. Here, I'll go over there. I got this one it's the electric Kool-Aid acid test by
Yeah,
Tom
there we go. Get
Wolfe.
some Tom
Yeah,
Wolfe for you. There we go.
yeah.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. So my dad, I haven't cracked open into this one yet, but yeah,
You're,
it's
you're
right
gonna
there.
you're gonna like that, man. Got
But
some Ken Kesey going on there. Yeah,
yeah.
some
Well,
Timothy Leary. Now we're
I,
talking, man.
I just read On the Road, Jack Kerouac.
Nice.
So I really like that. So my dad segued me into some Tom Wolfe. So yeah, that's next on the reading list.
Is your dad? You've referenced him a few times now, so perhaps it bears asking: is he of the Beats? Is he of the Beat generation in some way? Has he got a little hippie going in the LaFontaine blood?
I wouldn't say he's a part of the Beat generation, but he's got some he's more of like a hippie guy, like he definitely a well read man. And again, like he's probably the smartest, like again, this is biased, but he's the smartest man that I've ever met in my life. Someone that, whenever I need advice, he's my first call. And he's kind of a guy that's lived on both sides of the coin. Like, he grew up very blue collar, grew up in the 80s, like late 70s, and, just kind of was a part of that whole movement, the social movement. And, fast forward to, his 40s and 50s, and even today, like he's working a white collar job. Like, I'm not going to say he's straight laced, but very, um, I guarantee you his 20-year-old self wouldn't believe what he's doing today. So he's kind of lived both sides of the coin. And, here I am just trying to, just get a percentile of the wealth of knowledge that he has. So hence why I'm reading the electric Kool-Aid acid test now.
Jack LaFontaine, we got a couple more for you today, sir. This is kind of going back to that January 18th press conference. A few things that you said I know stuck out to more than just me. You said the goalie position is a funny position. You also said that, and you added that you would take this to your grave, that a goalie is only as good as the players or the team in front of them. Can you expand on that latter one?
Well, that whole opinion derived from a Devin Dubnyk quote. That he when he retired, he is a Devin Dubnyk. I think he does a great job in the, I forget what it's called. It's like the Hockey Now on like TSN or something, but he does a tremendous job of breaking down the position. And you know, whether you know about the position or you don't know about the position, there's always like little inklings of like wisdom you can take away from it. So I think he does a tremendous job. um, but truthfully, and when he said this, I wholeheartedly agree that like a goalie's only as good as the team in front of him. And I think he expanded on the idea, and I'm gonna butcher it, but it was so well thought out that um, a good uh, a good goalie can make a good team great, but a good goalie can't make a bad team good. It was
Oh,
something along the lines of
love
that.
that. Love
I,
that.
it was such a good soundbite he had. I love the way he thinks. He does a tremendous job on there. But um, you know, again, like the team's been playing so well right now. I think you're starting to see a lot of the younger kids on the team. You know, their personalities on and off the ice come out more. And again, I think the veterans have allowed them to flourish. You know, you see a guy like you know, Razor have a hat trick last Wednesday. I think you're seeing a guy like Victor Osman like really playing good hockey so far. And you know, other guys have just been really like like Pricer, Dragovich, like they're playing great hockey on the back end. Like I could go down the list, and yeah, it just makes my job so much easier because I have so much trust in them. Um, and you know, like, and to circle back to the original idea of like a goalie's only as good as the team in front of them. Like, yeah, like you know, when guys are, you know, back checking hard, when guys are, you know, picking up sticks in front of the net, like, you know, my problem goes from three down to one, just stop the puck. So, you know, again, like, I'm just merely getting the residuals of good team play.
Along with being a funny position. That's your words. Also, a very, very, very demanding position. My personal estimation, the toughest position in team sports, the toughest position in the world is NFL quarterback. The second toughest position, my estimation, I love having this debate, is NHL goaltender on a team sport. Third one, for whatever it's worth, I'd say Major League Baseball closer. I could give reasons for all three, but that's my list of the top three. Would you agree with that, or would you disagree and you think that maybe NHL goaltender is the hardest?
Oh, man. Well, they say the hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a baseball.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are, but that's what they say. Um, so this is the only thing I'll say. When a quarter, and listen, I'm not taking anything away from a quarterback or a pitcher, but the ball's in your hands. You
Okay.
have control. Granted, a quarterback, he can't like, you know, he has to read the blitz, you know, the coverage, so on and so forth, but you have all the control. It's tough to compare goaltending sometimes to those sports because you're really at the mercy of what happens in front of you. So it's less about having control of your environment and more of reacting to your environment. So that's where things get a little bit more dicey in the comparison. But again, like the more, again, this is another Dubnik quote. Like the more things you try to control, the less control you have. So, um, I think I'd give you quarterback. I'd give you quarterback at number one. I'm feeling nice today. I wouldn't go closer. I would go. I would go like the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a baseball. So I'd throw like a like a major league slugger at number 2, and then I'll throw goalie at number 3. I'm feeling kind today, but
Okay. Feeling generous, but
yeah, feeling generous.
I
But
like
yeah,
your point. Yeah, about
yeah,
proaction and reaction. There is a
correct.
difference
Yeah.
there. Let me get one more here today, Jack, and I asked you this again, referencing the post round post game rather presser. Sorry, I said post round. That's after 4 days of covering the American
So,
Express, um, where we referenced your shutout. I think I did specifically, and before answering my question and discussing your performance, you did knock on wood. Are you a superstitious person?
yeah, I'm superstitious. Yeah, a little bit. I just I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little bit superstitious. I have my routines. I have what works, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I never like to jinx myself. So the universe has a funny way of working things out. So yeah.
Can you share one of them? Can you share like you're wearing the same socks, the same shirt, eating the same meal? Just let's you can share one piece of the routine, yeah?
Same underwear, yeah. Same
Okay.
underwear, yeah.
After a
They're
shutout?
they're washed. They are washed each night after I wear them. So let the listeners know that the hygiene's still up there. But no, just like my routine, just like little things like sticking to my game day routine. Like what am I doing on the morning game day skate? What my preparation looks like before warm-ups, um, stuff like that. And that's less about superstition and more about just controlling my process, because that's one of the few things that goalies do get to control is their physical and mental preparation before a game. So just making sure that my body and my mind are primed and ready to go when that puck drops.
Jack, so appreciative of your time. Kudos on all your success in multiple leagues. I think we can say this year. Enjoy the rest of this 2-game homestand with the Birds, and then when you hit the road for a little bit, bring all those great books. Bring that Tom Wolfe, bring some Kerouac with you. I trust you'll have a little bit of reading time. Jack LaFontaine, thank you so much for joining, man.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me on.
All right, Firebirds flock, wrapping things up, epilogue rather, style, as we are wont to do on the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. The Desert Shootout segment, where we duel with pens in lieu of pistols. Welcome back, reporter Andrew John, to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, Jed.
Good to have you back, man. Set them up, knock them down, rapid fire fashion. Let's get rolling with our 5 questions, man. Fill in the blank. Of late, what are you most impressed by?
Man, I think the thing I'm most impressed by is how the defense is really tightening up and playing so much better. If you look at the last month, they are allowing just over 3 goals a game. This month, just barely over 2 goals a game. So that's 1 goal difference. And that's, I think, a big difference in the American Hockey League this time of year. Talked to some guys today out of practice about that. And they said that, yeah, it's kind of just a confluence of team chemistry, guys stepping in and learning their roles a little bit better with this young group. But to be able to do that specifically without primary goaltender Nikki Coco in the net has been really impressive to me.
All right, pulling a great stat there. Appreciate that, man. Slide on to number 2. No shortage of which to choose for this amid this 7-game point streak for the Birds. Most memorable moment of late for you, Andrew?
Man, I think the most memorable moment for me was Carson Rankoff getting the hat trick just showed to me that, there's a lot of guys maturing and growing into their roles on this team. He's one of them. And to have a guy join some really big names of Max McCormick, Ty Cartier, Jesper Frode, and Cole Lind, Andrew Podorowski, guys like that who've had hat tricks for the Firebirds, that's a pretty impressive group. And so for Carson to join that was really memorable for me.
Yeah, undoubtedly an unexpected but an exemplary performance from Carson. I think he came into that game with 5 goals on the season. As you mentioned, for the Hattie, left with 8. You said you're at practice today. We are talking on Tuesday of this week, I might note. Question 3 for you. Best quote you've heard recently?
Yeah, this one I thought came from Mitchell Stevens when I was at practice this morning. He said something that was, I thought, really great. We were talking about the goalie situation a little bit and having Coco out and what that's been like. And the quote was, "We trust all 3 of our goalies because they've given us reason to." So, there's maybe there's a little being diplomatic there because we know Coco is really special, but these other guys have been really phenomenal as well. And so I think the team has definitely recognized that, and they feel like they can go into battle with any one of these 3 goalies and come out with a win.
Yeah, the guest preceding you, of course, goalie Jack LaFontaine. Hey, he's 2-0 with the goals against sub-2 and a save percentage of .935. So maybe Mitchell Stevens wasn't just feeding you some nice words. I actually believe that. Not to go negative during what has been a positive month for the Firebirds. Question 4, however, is biggest concern. What's concerning you now, Andrew?
I think for me, the biggest concern is, that being said, is, the long-term prognosis on Coco. I mean, he's a guy who, while the other goalies, certainly have been playing well, I think you want your number 1 goaltender going into the postseason, and we still don't know the status of him. I will say, that being said, Derek Laxell, even though he won't really talk about injuries, he did say when we get Coco back, as though they're fully expecting that he will come back this season. And so I think that's a great encouraging sign. But I guess the concern is, if you did have to go into the postseason, you want your number 1 goalie in the net. And we just don't know at this point whether he will be ready to go at that point.
Yeah. Well, good thing that Derek Laxall gave you the when in lieu of an if. Question 5 of 5, man. Rolling right along here in the Desert Shootout with Andrew John. What's cracking, man? What's cracking? We got the next guy being called up. It's an interesting time, of course. Just a brief aside, we've got the Olympics coming up. That's a 19-day break for the NHL. Jacob Melanson was just called back up as Ben Myers, perhaps ironically, got injured. But if you see a call-up coming from the Birds to the Kraken, who might that be?
I think maybe Yanni Newman goes back, because Yanni has been with the Firebirds now 11 games, scored 7 goals. Of course, scored 6 of those. He had 3 consecutive multi-goal games. So you had 2-2-2, and that was a nice little run. I think in this last game, I love seeing this from Yanni, where one of his teammates got hit and he initiated a fight, and we hadn't really seen that fire from Yanni in past years. So that was a really cool thing to see. And I think maybe he goes back next if there is another call up here.
Yeah, I think I'd be inclined to agree with you on that one. I believe the player, if memory serves, that night was Jagger Furcus. Got kind of a cheap one late in that game against the Reign, face first into the boards. And Yanni Newman did not hesitate. Not a guy that gets into it much. Not a guy that mixes it up too much, but maybe that's one of the things he's learned in his NHL experience this year, how to defend your teammates a little bit more, how to get the mix.
Definitely. Absolutely. It was cool to see that, I think, because like you said, it's not just the goals you want to see from your guys. You want to see that they're getting in the mix and hitting guys and standing up for their teammates and doing all those things that I think it takes to win hockey games.
All right, man. We ran through the shootout where everybody wins. Did it in fine and timely fashion. Appreciate your time, Andrew John of the Desert Sun. We will see you in in the words of the late great Jack Buck, tomorrow night at Acrisure Arena. Birds hosting a very good Colorado Eagles team currently in second. CV can slide up to third with a victory. Thanks for your time, Andrew. We'll see you at the barn.
Okay. Thanks, Jed.
All right, dudes. Going to wrap it up for another episode of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. So appreciative of your time, your interest, your ears, your ongoing support of this endeavor now in its fourth season per the CV Firebirds on the ice. Gotta say, it's been a good year, been a fun year. 7-game point streak. In turn, the downloads, proud to say, happy to say, have reflected as much. A lot of downloads of late. Birds are playing well. People are interested. Tuning in to the Fire and Ice podcast. Additional gratitude, of course, goes to my partner in crime with this endeavor, the Desert Sun. You can check out all their Valley coverage and their Coachella Valley Firebirds coverage at desertsun.com. Or heck, just go get yourself a physical newspaper. People still do that, by the way. In concert, I want to thank Andrew John for his time. Reporter Andrew John, another exemplary season covering CV Firebirds hockey. Great Desert Shootout segment with Andrew. My previous guest, Firebirds goalie Jack LaFontaine, as advertised. Interesting, fascinating guy, playing well in net for the Birds. Great to have Jack on the show, making his Fire and Ice debut. Desert Willow Golf Resort, right here in sunny Palm Desert, California, home to the Mountain View and Fire Cliff courses, and also the excellent and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy. You go to desertwillow.com to get those tee times or to find out more about those instructional opportunities. And certainly don't forget to make it a great putt-to-puck segue. I love this. I love this as a desert day. You go play Desert Willow late morning, maybe early afternoon tee time, whether it be the Mountain View, whether it be the Fire Cliff, and then you skate it right on down. Cook. Hang right on Varner, just a mile and a half away to Acrisure Arena. Check out a Coachella Valley Firebirds home game, which will, of course, as mentioned, be taking place both this Wednesday night and then again this Friday evening before the boys hit the road for a spell. Last but certainly not least, so enthused to have a new sponsor for the Firebirds Freeze Frame segment this season, your high desert hockey homes, both the 29 Palms Beer Company, where you can check out all the Birds games on TV, home or away, and the Ground Squirrel, GRND-SQRL, an awesome gastropub-style scratch-made menu. Of course, they match that with a rotating list of craft beers. You're up there exploring the high desert as local, as a Valley guest during this peak season. Be sure to pop into either or both the Ground Squirrel and the 29 Palms Beer Company. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in to the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. We'll catch you at Acrisure Arena both this Wednesday night against Colorado Eagles and then Friday against the San Diego Gulls. Take care out there, and as always, be well.